Part 67. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 662. Amos, standing on the stage, saw everything in the venue very clearly. Especially the panic expression on John's face. It seems that these two ladies are really John's mistresses, but how did they get into his party? There is a more terrible idea, occupying Amos's mind. But he can't think about it. At least not now. He forced himself not to think about the fact that John likes men and women. He must concentrate and end the farce in front of him as soon as possible. Amos cleared his throat and said to the microphone, "My nephew is a passionate man. It's inconvenient for me to participate in the affairs of you young people, John Dash." He emphasized John's name. John's panicked eyes met Amos's eyes. Amos's eyes were calm. John quickly calmed down. Think about it, what does his uncle want most at the moment? End the farce in front of him. Uncle is the governor of California. Uncle can't let his reputation be damaged in any way. Yes. Everyone present was watching their Joyce's joke. Maybe his uncle had some suspicions about the relationship between him and Marlene Taylor, but his uncle had no evidence. As long as he denied it to Marlene Taylor and found a chance to get rid of the baby in Marlene's belly, then he would still be safe. After all, he was Amos's favorite nephew. So John cleared his throat. "Two beautiful ladies, I don't know who paid you to humiliate me. Tell me the price, I can double it." How could the two ladies tolerate such an insult? They immediately retorted, but because they were too anxious, they cursed in their own mother tongue. They became anxious, as if they were making trouble. John looked at Amos, and Amos smiled at him. This gave John great courage and confidence. Yes, even if his uncle knew about the mess between him and Marlene, as long as his apology was sincere enough, his uncle would definitely forgive him. There are thousands of women, but he is the only nephew. John calmed down and said righteously, "I did have love with you, but that is a thing of the past. Do I have to be responsible for sleeping with you for the rest of my life? Don't let others take advantage of you." At this time, Amos spoke earnestly. "Men, I also want to remind you here that you must be careful in handling the relationship with every girlfriend. I think you also know how terrible women are when they go crazy." Amos' words stopped here. An expression of disbelief appeared on his face. Everyone noticed the governor's abnormality and followed his line of sight. Only to see the governor's little wife, who was supposed to go back to her room to rest, appear outside the crowd. She pushed aside the crowd and walked straight towards John. The blood on John's face disappeared in an instant. "Marlene, Aunt, why did you come out? Please go back to your room to rest." John said loudly. He stared at Marlene Taylor's eyes desperately, using his eyes to convey what he couldn't say at the moment, trying to call back her reason. But Marlene Taylor did not stop, and approached John step by step. The crowd automatically dispersed to both sides, making way for her. Many people noticed that Marlene Taylor was not in a good condition at the moment. Her eyes were moving rapidly, her face was pale, her cheeks were flushed, and her hands covering her stomach were trembling slightly and rapidly. Even John Killen, who was holding the audio player controller, was surprised. Why was she here? The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 663. Isn't this different from Chen Ling's script? In Chen Ling's script, Marlene Taylor will strongly deny her relationship with John. For this reason, Chen Ling also specially prepared a sexy video, a video of John and Marlene's sex scene. That was what Chen Ling found by sneaking into John's mailbox. Chen Ling knew Amos's house well. She knew where the blind spots were for surveillance and where they were suitable for screen projection. The video will use a projector placed among the branches of a tall redwood tree in front of Amos' house. At the right time, John Killen will use the remote control in his pocket to turn on the projector and project the video onto the white wall of Amos' house. When Marlene Taylor came closer, John Killen saw her appearance clearly at this moment, and he understood instantly. Marlene Taylor was on drugs. Her mental state at this moment was so unstable that she even confused reality with hallucinations. She also cannot correctly judge what can and cannot be said now. Even John's two mistresses stopped their fragrant diatribes. They looked at the governor's wife in confusion. He looked at John again. Could it be that John slept with his aunt? The governor's wife? Is John crazy? But John felt that the crazy person was Marlene Taylor. In the eyes of everyone, Marlene Taylor walked step by step in front of John, and finally stood still. John was still making his last attempt, grabbing Marlene's shoulders, shaking him desperately, and said loudly, "Aunt Marlene. Wake up. You dash." Snapped. Marlene Taylor used all her strength to slap John in the face. Very crisp and loud. John covered his face and stared at the woman in front of him. She is crazy. She is crazy. She is really crazy. Marlene Taylor raised her head and laughed wildly, her two beautiful blue eyes filled with tears quickly. No wonder you haven't ignored me recently. It turns out there is a woman outside. You clearly promised me that you will only do this in your life if you love me, you will never betray me. You told me that Amos was about to die soon, so you could marry me openly. You would explain to the world that I was coerced by Amos, and you were the knight who saved the princess. Are you worried that your position as successor will be shaken? You know it clearly. It doesn't make any difference whether I give the inheritance to you, old man Amos, or to the child in my belly, because... John didn't care about thinking so much, and took a big step forward to cover Marlene Taylor's mouth to prevent her from saying more terrible words. But he was still one step late. Before he covered Marlene Taylor's mouth, she uttered the most fatal sentence. "Because you are the father of the child in my belly." The scene fell into deathly silence. Amos stood on the stage, his mouth wide open, stunned. He looked at John in the audience, who was desperately covering his beloved wife's mouth. He felt that everything before him was too unreal. Because it was so unreal, he even wanted to laugh for a moment. All of this must be fake. I must be in some absurd dream right now? Yes, that must be the case. Amos began to try to wake himself up. The blood of everyone at the banquet was almost boiling. What a shocking giant melon! The sudden fall almost hit their heads and stunned them. The governor's wife actually had an affair with the governor's nephew and got pregnant with a child. Are these adulterers and adulterers too courageous? What did they think of the governor? A great idiot. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 664. The sheepdogs who were climbing the wall to dismantle the player had forgotten their task. They stood blankly by the wall, confused by the series of changes. At this moment, John smelled the stench of marijuana on Marlene Taylor's body, and suddenly had an epiphany. While covering Marlene's mouth, he shouted, "She's on drugs. She's mentally abnormal at the moment. Come here, find out who gave her marijuana dash." The servants in the house, members of the band, and hired chefs all came to the venue at some point to watch the excitement. Upon hearing this, the chefs were shocked. They are only responsible for cooking. Who knows if someone might add spices to the meal? It's fun to eat melon, but it's not fun at all if you eat melon and eat it on your own head. At this time, a tall and thin man wearing a chef's uniform emerged from the crowd and said loudly, "No need to check, I put marijuana in the snack I gave her. She deserves this." People looked at the chef one after another. This man had sunken cheeks and deep dark circles under his eyes. His eyes were shining with the joy of revenge. They heard him continue. My wife was destroyed by this bitch Marlene Taylor. Just because someone said that my wife was prettier and smarter than her, Marlene Taylor, this bitch, held a grudge, and she started talking to my wife. She was very close and pretended to be very friendly. Later, she gave my wife a jar of candy. The bitch said that it was a nutritious candy imported from foreign countries and was good for fetal brain development. The chef couldn't continue. His eye sockets and nose quickly turned red, and after a while, he said in a choked voice, "My wife is addicted to drugs." The fetus was also deformed and miscarried because of the drugs. My wife, to this day still in a drug rehabilitation center, struggling with drug addiction. It's you bitch who ruined everything for me. The chef turned around and pointed at Amos's nose on the stage, and you ungrateful governor. Those candies are the drug candies you sell to the children. John had a strong desire to survive, and the chef's words aroused his quick wit. He shouted desperately to the stage as if grasping a life-saving straw, "Uncle Amos. Aunt Marlene is delirious at the moment. What she said is, it's fake. Don't believe it. Don't believe it." John Killen raised her lips. "Don't you cry when you don't see the coffin?" Then, with his long fingers, he pressed the button of the projector in his pocket without hesitation. "Then let me send you on the last journey." The white wall flashed, showing a silent R-rated video. No one noticed at first. Later, a person accidentally caught a glimpse of the video on the wall and immediately pointed at the wall and shouted. Soon, everyone noticed the video on the wall. Everyone's faces were filled with excitement and they pointed at the wall. Amos felt like his body weighed more than 1,000 pounds. He almost lost the courage to face everything. He didn't dare to look at what was behind him that made this group of people so excited. But he still couldn't control it and slowly turned around. Because of the strong sunlight, incomplete curtains, and poor playback conditions, the screen projection was a little dull, but Amos could still tell at a glance that the woman biting her lip and rosy cheeks in the video was his little wife. In the video, the male protagonist who works hard at sports is his good nephew, John. A large swath of white glare appeared in front of Amos's eyes, his ears roared, and his temples almost burst. Amidst the excited whispers and roaring tinnitus, Amos clearly heard the voice coming from the player on the wall again. "How does it feel to be betrayed, Mr. Amos?" "Ha!" The man smiled lightly at last. This laughter. This laughter. Amos felt as if his chest had been hit hard with a heavy hammer. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 665. Amos swore that he heard absolutely correctly. The laughter just now was the laughter of the dead Cheng Ling. "Cheng Ling," Amos yelled. Everyone present was stunned. I saw him looking around the venue like crazy, trying to find someone in the crowd. At the same time, he was still shouting. "It's you. I know it's you. You are hiding in the shadows, whispering, thinking only about how to drag me into hell, ha 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 ha." Amos suddenly covered his chest, and then with a boom, he fell to his knees, his body fell forward uncontrollably, and then fell from the stage to the ground. The people around the stage quickly dispersed. Amos pressed his chest tightly with both hands. He rolled his eyes, his face turned purple from holding back, foaming at the corners of his mouth, curled up on the ground, and his body twitched involuntarily. "Get out of the way, get out of the way, I'm a doctor." Dr. Ken rushed over, knelt on the ground, carefully straightened Amos's head, unbuttoned the top of his shirt, and loosened his tie. "Everyone, please spread out, we need fresh air here." Nolan, who went to check the player, also left and returned at this moment, rushed to Amos's side, and shouted to Dr. Ken very anxiously, "Doctor, tell me quickly. What should I do? Amos opened his eyes with difficulty, and before fainting, he glanced at the people around him. Nolan and Dr. Ken are trying their best to save themselves. The anxious look on their faces was definitely not fake. And his good nephew, John, stood not far away with a blank expression, looking at him, frowning, with a trace of disgust in his eyes. As for his beloved wife, she lost John's control and rubbed against John's shoulders and neck. Her hands were caressing John's chest and back eagerly, as if she was in love. Amos closed his eyes. Nolan worked very, very hard to save Amos. The captain had ordered that Amos not die like this, it would be too easy for him. He must be allowed to soberly swallow the consequences of his evil deeds, long-lasting. The governor's mansion was in chaos. The butler, bodyguards, and servants stood on the lawn at a loss. Without Amos's order, they had no idea what to do at this moment. The people at the banquet left the scene without any hindrance, they couldn't wait to share the melon they ate today with the world. Only the chef who put marijuana in Marlene Taylor's food stood still and did not leave, although no one cared about him. John Killen also left the governor's mansion with the crowd. Linger, have you vented your anger? Asterisk. Maple City, thousands of miles away. It was already 10:30 in the middle of the night, but the studio and dressing room were brightly lit, and the staff were busy with their work. Chen Ling, leaning on the makeup chair, closed her eyes and let several makeup artists work on her face. At this time, she heard someone in the corner of the dressing room say excitedly, "Hey, look what news I read, the governor of California in the United States is involved in a scandal, oh. It's really dark." The news said that the governor was involved in organizing drug trafficking, assassinating reporters, and sending the reporter's widow to a mental hospital. There's more in the back. Let me take a look. The man watched the news intently, and then continued to share, "Oh my God. The governor's nephew got pregnant with the governor's wife? Oh my God. Is it such a big melon?" Chen Ling didn't move. The makeup artist turned around, lowered her voice and said to the person sharing the gossip, "Shhh, keep your voice down, Teacher Chen is asleep." The employees who were gossiping immediately fell silent. Chen Ling was very cooperative throughout the whole day and took more than a dozen sets of photos without any complaints. Everyone saw her hard work and dedication. She was asleep now and no one wanted to wake her up. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 666. The makeup artist dimmed the lights, lowered his head and carefully shaded Chen Ling's face. The sparse and dim light shone on Chen Ling's face. Half of her face was bright and half of her face was in shadow, which highlighted her excellent facial features. The makeup artist couldn't help but sigh. Chen Ling's face was simply a masterpiece created by Nuwa. The forehead is full, the brow bones are high, the eye sockets are deep, the bridge of the nose is slender and straight, and even the shape of the lips is particularly perfect. Chen Ling's appearance is the favorite of makeup artists. It is extremely malleable and can be sweet or salty. Today she put on more than a dozen makeup looks for Chen Ling, the wild female singer makeup in the bar, the sweet makeup of the innocent female college student, the energetic coffee shop girl, the solemn and elegant middle school female teacher. Chen Ling can master every makeup look and interprets her beauty from different angles. Aside from her natural beauty, what's particularly amazing about Chen Ling is that she adjusts her body and expressions according to the roles she plays. The rhythm of the female singer's movements, the confident but slightly shy smile of the female college student, and the teacher who always has a critical eye. Act like what you want. It's just the grand master who enjoys the meal, the makeup artist thought, using a makeup brush to sweep the bridge of Chen Ling's straight nose. The makeup fan was applied smoothly and ironed onto her skin. Her skin was in very good condition, it could be broken by blowing, and it was fair and pink. You know, today Chen Ling's face went through makeup removal, face washing, and make up again. This repeated process for a whole day, and late at night, she could still maintain a girlish look. The makeup artist's assistant came behind the makeup artist at some point, stood on tiptoes to admire Chen Ling's face for a long time, and said sincerely, "Sister, is this Hero Domestic Cosmetics really easy to use?" "I don't think so. There's not much difference between thousands of cosmetics. The foundation is easy to apply and the powder doesn't get stuck." Another stylist lowered his voice, "That's because he has a good foundation." "Not entirely." Chen Ling, who was leaning on the makeup chair, suddenly spoke, "Hero is indeed very useful." The people in the room were startled. Chen Ling opened her eyes and smiled apologetically at the makeup artist. "I'm sorry, did I scare you?" The makeup artist raised the makeup brush in his hand and shook his head, "No." Chen Ling raised his upper body slightly, turned to the makeup artist's assistant and said, "Hero Cosmetics Company was founded in 1917. It has survived 100 years of turmoil in China. What do you think is the reason?" The little assistant swallowed her saliva and felt as nervous as if she was being asked to ask questions by the teacher in class. She whispered, "High quality and low price." Chen Ling praised, "Very smart. Of course, it's not all about high quality and low price." She lay down and nodded to the makeup artist to continue putting on makeup. At the same time, she continued, "Good quality and low price are very important. Another point is that Hero is a local brand in China. It has been studying the skin quality of our Chinese people carefully and understands that the daily life of Chinese people is more in line with our skin type and usage habits." At this moment, Chen Ling was taking pictures of one of her two GGS, Hero Cosmetics, a time-honored domestic cosmetics brand. This brand has existed since the Republic of China. Later, the Neon Kingdom invaded China. During the 8 years of the anti-Japanese war, the founder of Hero Cosmetics has been taking practical actions to protect his country and the country. He personally led his employees to provide anti-war supplies to the anti-war fighters, such as rice, flour, grains, oils, and guns. Firearms, medicine, and clothing, etc., can be said to be one of the few conscientious enterprises in China. Later, China slowly recovered its vitality, its economy began to take off, and foreign capital targeted China. Countless big foreign brands have poured into the Chinese market. Big brands are better at packaging and publicity. How can honest domestic brands compete with them? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 667. What's more, humans have a very strange psychology. Only cosmetics that exceed your own consumption level will be effective. People always think that cheap cosmetics are not as effective as expensive cosmetics. Blind pursuit of expensiveness. Foreign big-name cosmetics are indeed very good, but most of their products are developed for white skin and are not very effective on yellow people. The current boss of Hero is very bad at marketing, and he doesn't know how to package and promote himself. As a result, Hero's sales volume has been decreasing year by year, and now he can hardly even pay his salary. The Commercial Cooperation Department of Hero Company sent a commercial endorsement request to Chen Ling's agent. They themselves had no hope at all. The endorsement fee they could offer Chen Ling was only 100,000 yuan. Most starlets are too lazy to accept it, let alone Chen Ling, who is in the limelight. However, after Wang Zhen saw the endorsement request form of Hero, she put this endorsement first. Wang Zhen knew Chen Ling too well. If Chen Ling knew how much contribution Hero Company had made to China, she would definitely accept this endorsement. Therefore, even though Mr. Fu later received many big-name endorsements, Wang Zhen still did not give up Hero. She carefully explained the reasons for her persistence. From her unswerving support of the soldiers with practical actions during the anti-Japanese war, to her recent obscurity and charity work, Hiro's words will appear wherever there are floods, snowstorms, and earthquakes in China. Figure. It's just that Hiro is too poor, so their donation seems very insignificant among the many big names. After hearing this, Chen Ling made a decision: she would agree to be the brand spokesperson of Hiro. When Hiro received the business negotiation letter from Chen Ling agreeing to be their brand spokesperson, everyone was shocked. Unexpectedly, Chen Ling actually agreed. The endorsement fee is only a pitiful 100,000 yuan. She actually agreed. Oh my god. At this time, everyone in Hiro Company was in a panic. They were not prepared at all. The shooting copywriter, makeup artist, photography and videographer, retoucher, special effects artist, studio, etc., etc., all had to be prepared at short notice. Fortunately, Xinjiao Fengxing Entertainment seemed to have anticipated all this and provided Hiro with all the software and hardware needed for filming for free. Hiro's boss was very embarrassed, especially after hearing about the GG plan issued by Xinjiao. He shook his head repeatedly. It's too exaggerated. The old entrepreneur said, Hiro is not that effective. Fu Yubin smiled and said, this is a GG effect within a reasonable range. Fu Yubin is indeed very business savvy. He is keenly aware that the new generation of Chinese young people are different from the young people of the past. The new generation of young people consume more rationally, are less superstitious about foreign brands, and have strong patriotic feelings. Therefore, an endorsement that seems like a loss may be a good opportunity that comes from heaven. He will later find suitable opportunities to publicize everything Hiro has done for the country. Fu Yubin also revealed this idea to boss Hiro. I don't think it's good. The boss said seriously, we are not doing this for fame or profit. Fu Yubin smiled and said, I know you are patriotic. But loving the country and the people also requires influence and money. Some things must be done for the sake of higher interests. If you are at ease, leave it to me. I will definitely. It will allow you to better contribute to the country. In this way, the commercial cooperation for endorsement was finalized. Asterisk. Chen Ling, who was half lying in the makeup chair, continued to express her opinion. Hiro's lotion tastes very good and has a good moisturizing effect. I don't like SK's lotion very much. It smells like saliva. The foundation is also easy to apply. There is no greasy or dull feeling on the face. The texture is light and thin, and the coverage effect is good. After Chen Ling finished speaking, the makeup artist agreed. She has been dealing with various skincare products and cosmetics all year round and has a strong say. Mr. Cheng is right. To be honest, I really didn't think highly of Hiro before because it was too cheap, but after I used it today, I was immediately attracted by it. I'm a fan. The reason why Hiro is not accepted by people is just because of the lack of opportunity. I will order a set when I get back. The assistant immediately held up his face and said with stars in his eyes, wow, then I'll buy a set when I get back. No need to buy them, Chen Ling said with a smile, my agent has several sets of cosmetics sent by brand manufacturers. I will ask her to send them to you in a while, and each of you will take one set. Wow. Thank you, Teacher Chen. The little girls in the room thanked me happily. Oh my god. Chen Lingren is really great. It's completely different from some celebrities who have eyes that reach the top of their foreheads and are known to make things difficult and insult the staff. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 668. At this time, the door was knocked several times. Come in. The door opened, and the photographer's assistant poked his head in. Excuse me, has Teacher Cheng finished her makeup? Our studio has been set up. The makeup artist had just finished applying the last few strokes of setting powder. She put down the brush, admired her masterpiece, and then said, "Okay, please have a look, Teacher Cheng." After that, she held Cheng Ling's back with her hand, helped her sit up, looked at Cheng Ling in the makeup mirror and asked, "Look, are you satisfied with this makeup? Tell me if you are not satisfied with it, I can change it." Cheng Ling looked at herself in the makeup mirror. Her black hair was tied up behind her head, revealing her whole face. Her peach eyes were painted with eyeshadow to tilt upwards, her eyebrows were painted with sharp brow peaks, and the dark red lipstick added a touch of calmness to her. Cheng Ling at this moment looked very aggressive. "I like it very much, thank you," Cheng Ling said, standing up from the makeup chair. She was wearing a dark grey slim-fitting business suit, cropped pants that revealed her slender ankles, and black high heels that were 8 centimeters high. A strong aura of a strong woman in the workplace rushed towards her. In this GG, Cheng Ling played a domineering female president. Cheng Ling picked up the props, a shiny black briefcase, straightened her back, walked with the wind, and walked into the studio. The studio was arranged like a conference room. There was a whiteboard at the back, on which some professional terms were written in black pen. In the middle of the room was a rectangular conference table, with 2 rows of employees sitting on both sides of the table. Cheng Ling's high heels tapped on the floor. When the people in the conference room heard the iconic footsteps of the female president, they immediately sat up straight. The atmosphere in the conference room instantly became tense. Cheng Ling walked straight to the head of the conference room table and put down her briefcase. She did not speak, but supported the conference table with both hands, her lips slightly raised, and looked at the employees in the conference room one by one. But there was no smile in her eyes. "Thank you all for attending the meeting on time," Cheng Ling said in a calm and capable tone of a strong woman, "but I am very dissatisfied with this quarter's report." The cameraman aimed the camera at Cheng Ling. She was full of the decisiveness of a female superior. Her sharp eyes and tight lips, beautiful and full of inviolable seriousness. Her lines are very good, and she is full of tension in front of the camera, giving people a sense of déjà vu that she is a female president. Outside the shooting site, everyone was nervously holding their breath and looking at the shooting site. A little further away, Xinjiao's deputy director of artist management lowered his voice and said to Wang Zhen, "Your Cheng Ling is really a plastic talent. She can act whatever she wants. In the future, she will definitely be our top actress in China." His tone was a little envious. Wang Zhen smiled very proudly and said with pride, "That's right, my Lingling is super awesome. Especially the car GG, I've seen the negatives," the deputy director exclaimed with emotion, "Don't be too cool, okay." The other GG that Cheng Ling took was a car brand. This was highly recommended by Fu Yubin, in order to take care of the boss's face, and Cheng Ling herself likes cars, so she nodded. The car dealer is different from the poor hero. They have prepared everything needed for shooting GG. The GG plan is very cliché, but very cool. A bad guy drives away, and Cheng Ling chases him in the car she endorses. Various difficult actions, exciting racing shots, Cheng Ling's just right show off. It looks like a clip from a Hollywood action blockbuster. In fact, the car dealer originally wanted to use a stand-in to replace Cheng Ling in racing, but Cheng Ling smiled and refused. "How about letting me try it and then decide whether to use a body double?" The car dealer had some doubts, but still reluctantly agreed. "I never expected that Cheng Ling would actually shoot the whole thing in one shot. Unfortunately, the shooting site was not ready at the time, and the photographer was completely unable to keep up with her rhythm, missing a lot of wonderful shots." The shooting party was very happy. Immediately replanned the shooting process and cancelled the plan of body double shooting. The task originally planned to shoot for 3 days was completed in less than a day and a half. And the effect was invincible. The bad guys stole the jewelry on display and drove away. Cheng Ling, who was shopping, saw the fleeing bad guys, opened the unlocked car parked on the side of the road, and started chasing. Chen Ling was wearing a black leather jacket and sunglasses, with a determined smile on her lips, and operated the car smoothly, shuttling through urban roads, winding mountain roads, and narrow rural roads. Not to mention others, Wang Zhen, who was following the shooting, was so handsome that her legs were weak. After the filming was completed, GG Company began to work intensively on post-production, striving to broadcast this GG simultaneously with the broadcast of A Song of Light and Blood. They didn't dare to imagine how good the effect would be when GG was released. The soul travels through the 18th line, the female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Bulletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 669. Thank you for your hard work today, Teacher Chang. Please go slowly on your way back. The staff of the studio waved goodbye to Chen Ling. Chen Ling also smiled and waved goodbye to them, and Wang Zhen sent her downstairs. As soon as the elevator reached the first floor, a sharp cold wind blew in her face. Wang Zhen couldn't help but shiver and shrink her neck. Sister Zhen, go back, just send her here, Chen Ling said to Wang Zhen, who was not wearing a down jacket, and she pointed outside, Along is here to pick me up. Outside the first floor glass window, I saw Along holding Chen Ling's coat, getting out of the car and walking towards the photography building. Okay, Wang Zhen shivered and rubbed her hands, go back and have a good rest for a while, I won't bother you. There are a lot of post-production preparations to be made, and there are some contracts to be signed in several places. Chen Ling hugged Wang Zhen, Sister Zhen, don't worry. I will be fine. Wang Zhen was a little stunned. The next second, Chen Ling let go of her hand, cheered and walked towards Along, who walked in, turned her back to Wang Zhen and raised her hand to make a V sign, it's vacation. Wang Zhen watched Chen Ling put on her down jacket, opened the door and walked out. She shuddered again and hurriedly pressed the elevator to go upstairs. Chen Ling's filming work was completed, and their staff behind the scenes still had a lot of work to do. Asterisk. Miss, is the temperature in the car okay? Along turned around from the driver's seat and asked. While Along was waiting outside, the car had not been turned off and the heater was on, just because he was afraid that Chen Ling would be cold. Fengcheng at this moment is the coldest time of the year. It was howling outside in the north, and the temperature had dropped to more than 10 degrees below zero. There was not even a shadow on the road. The temperature is right, Chen Ling fastened her seat belt, a trace of fatigue on her face, let's drive. There is hot milk in your thermos, which is prepared by your wife, Aaron said, and started the car, please sit tight, we are going home. Chen Ling glanced out the car window. The dim street lights added a touch of warmth to the night. After a short rest, she turned on her mobile phone. There were many unread WeChat messages on her mobile phone. She did not rush to check WeChat, but clicked on a social software in the United States. The social platform has exploded, and it is full of news about Amos, such as California governor is entangled in scandals, the people-friendly governor's personality collapses, let's talk about the evil things Joyce has done over the years, can Marlene Taylor be awarded a hero medal? She helped us to retaliate against the hypocritical governor Amos, California governor's birthday party, the governor's nephew gave the governor a big gift. Strictly speaking, no guests are allowed to take photos or videos at Amos' birthday party. But later the scene was completely messed up, and no one cared whether the guests took photos or not. Many guests took out their phones to record this moment, and after sorting it out, they posted it online in a combination of pictures and text, including the action video clip projected on Amos's house. Netizens all over the world were excited, eating melons is a common hobby of mankind. Great America, you can always find everything you want in America. California governor, corruption, abuse of power, drug trafficking, oh my God. The governor's nephew got everything from the governor's uncle, money, status, and women, the governor's wife. As an insider, I want to say, thank God, there is no good person in the Joyce family. A long time ago, I knew the inside story of John raping a young girl. A foreigner wanted to obtain an American green card through illegal means, and the parents asked their young daughter to spend the night with John. The girl's parents got the green card, so they naturally wouldn't go to John for trouble. The girl has committed suicide. No wonder the drug abuse rate in California has increased so fast. The drug lord has been eliminated. It turns out that the governor is the new drug lord. Amos is a gangster himself. Whether in business or politics, he is very ruthless and never leaves his opponents any chance to survive. So the road in Western California was contracted by the governor's nephew? No wonder it hasn't been repaired for so long. Every day of delay means the government and the people have to spend one more day's money on them, including workers' fees, road material transportation fees, storage fees. It's really a lucrative job. What on earth is the American government doing? Why not try to legislate to prevent this kind of tricky situation from happening? America has no hope. Does anyone know the name of the dead reporter? How is his wife now? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 670. But most of them are about gossip. A big revelation about the governor's wife, Marlene Taylor, a school bully in middle and high school, lived a very undisciplined life, but she was definitely not this beautiful before, especially her breasts and buttocks. She must have had surgery. She should thank her plastic surgeon. Nephew and aunt, so shocking. Nephew is younger than aunt. Amos is so old. He should have thought about what would happen to his wife if he couldn't satisfy her needs when he found such a young wife. Begging for a video of John vs the governor's wife. Does anyone know the identities of John's two mistresses? So beautiful, they are prettier than many female stars now. By the way, the quality of female stars has declined too fast recently, and there are almost no good-looking ones. It's great to have money and power. All kinds of beauties will take the initiative to throw themselves into your arms. Hey, when I saw Amos marrying a young wife, I predicted to my friends, this woman will definitely cheat on Amos. I never expected that she would be so bold. What should Amos be called after the child is born? It can't be the father, right? Chen Ling flipped through a few pages, and most of the content behind it revolved around romantic affairs. Even many netizens followed current events and wrote online articles directly titled "What I, Marlene Taylor, Must Say About Those Men." As for Amos's corruption and evil forces, the heat quickly dropped. Many provisions related to corruption in road construction, drug trafficking, and assassination of journalists are no longer visible. Chen Ling curled her lips and sneered, it seems that the American government can't sit still either. It's better that the American government can't sit still, only when it can't sit still can her next plan be carried out smoothly. Chen Ling looked out the window, staring at the phone and reading English until her eyes were dizzy. Many large trucks whizzed by. Feng Cheng has a rule that only after 10 o'clock in the evening can large trucks delivering goods be allowed to drive onto urban roads. There are quite a lot of trucks tonight. She felt a little better from the dizziness, and looked down at her phone again. This time, she opened WeChat. There was a special person who sent 6 WeChat messages to Chen Ling. Chen Ling noted her name as, Silly Ha. It was Alexei. After Chen Ling came back, she only called Alexei once. Chen Ling did not say much about the Masons. She only asked Alexei to pay attention to the American social platform. Alexei inexplicably browsed the American social platform software for several days, and it was not until today that she knew Chen Ling's intention. The big sister took action. Ha ha ha. Alexei was eager to exchange experiences with Chen Ling, but she knew that the big sister was very busy and did not dare to disturb her, so she had to send Chen Ling an emoticon every few minutes to express her inner urgency. Silly ha, Husky tilts his head and stares with question mark face. JPG. Silly ha, Husky sticks out tongue. JPG. Silly ha, Husky sends winter greetings. How are you? JPG. Silly ha, Husky asks for caress. JPG. Chenling's mouth rose a few degrees, and Alexei asked herself why she named her Silly ha. She loves to use Husky's emoticons so much. If she doesn't call her ha, it would be unfair to these emoticons. Chenling found Alexei's mobile phone number and called back. Alexei answered immediately. Hello. Alexei lowered his voice. Big sister, are you done with your work? The soul travels through the 18th line. The female agent is killing crazy in the entertainment. Author, Buletin Yehoyun Li. Chapter 671. Alexei usually lives in the orphanage. The orphanage specially found a quiet single room for her on the top floor to ensure that she could have free space without being disturbed. Of course I'm done. I can't call you on the set, right? Chenling pinched her brow bones. Only then did Alexei return to normal volume. Sister. Did you do it? Really? So handsome. That old dog really deserves it. Sister, do you have a live video? I want to watch 180 times. I can only imagine how exciting the scene would be. That bastard John has flirted with me so many times. But when I talk to him, he says I have too much self-awareness and he doesn't like women at all. He's such a bastard, and Amos still treats him like a treasure. If Amos could realize earlier, the captain is the real priceless treasure. Alexei stopped abruptly. Alexei was adopted by Amos when he was nearly 10 years old. He did not keep him by his side. Instead, he was placed directly in a nearby house, where he ate, drank, and learned training with a group of children. Amos did not give Alexei any money. Too much care. But the eldest sister is different. The eldest sister was raised by Amos as a daughter since she was a baby. Is it possible to have no emotion at all? Moreover, the eldest sister is actually very kind-hearted. Alexei quickly added, speaking of which, Amos is quite pitiful. Tisk. Pity, Chenling asked back. Alexei, are you having a brain problem when it comes to dating? I'm not satisfied with this. I hope Amos doesn't die and lets him enjoy life. The last moments, savoring the unavoidable pain, the longer the better. Alexei. The eldest sister is kind, but her kindness is very rational and sober. When dealing with relatives and friends, the eldest sister is willing to suffer. But facing the enemy, haha, the eldest sister can kill them. Therefore, you must not offend the eldest sister. Then I will continue to celebrate, Alexei said with a smile, but the next moment, she stopped smiling and said with some worry, by the way, Amos has fallen, what will the other team members do? H-Force is the private property of Amos. How can there be eggs under the cover of the nest? I'm afraid things won't end well for the members of the H-Rangers. Chenling said easily, don't worry. I have arranged a way out for them. I guess the American government must be having a headache now. Chenling is right. The president does have a headache. Just hours ago, the White House received an anonymously delivered document. The White House receives a lot of documents every day, and has a dedicated department to process these documents. A clerk handling documents opened a document out of boredom. There is one word printed on the surface of the document bag, top secret document. Recipient, President XXX. The clerk scanned it with an instrument and opened the file after confirming that it contained no dangerous factors. After just reading a few lines, he broke into a cold sweat. Then, the clerk took the documents and knocked on the door of the presidential assistant's office. After reading a few pages of documents, the presidential assistant made a decisive decision and asked the guards to control the clerk not to leave the office for even half a step. No contact may be made with anyone. Later, the assistant brought the documents to the president who was at work. The president is worried about Amos. This is a very serious incident. The image of American officials has been impacted in the hearts of the people. The president said impatiently to his assistant, "It's best if you come to me with something particularly important or particularly good news." The assistant handed over the document seriously. "Sir, this is a more serious matter than the accident at the California governor's banquet." The president frowned and took the document. His expression changed instantly.